You have an opinion, but before you say it, something shifts. You pause. You rethink it. You wonder if it's actually right. And then you wait to hear what someone else thinks first. Not because you don't have thoughts, but because your own don't feel solid. So the question isn't why you hesitate. It's why your own mind doesn't feel like enough. You're not blank. You think deeply. You notice things. You form opinions all the time. But the moment those opinions have to exist publicly, they start to feel unstable. Someone asks, "What do you think?" And suddenly, your answer feels incomplete. So you soften it. "I'm not sure, but maybe this is wrong, but..." Even when you speak, you leave space to be corrected. And when someone disagrees, even slightly, you feel it. Not just as disagreement, but as a signal that you might be wrong entirely. So you adjust. You reframe your opinion mid-conversation. You align it closer to theirs. Not because you're pretending, but because your brain is trying to find stability. This shows up in small, everyday moments. Choosing what to eat, but changing it when someone reacts. Having a preference, but abandoning it when it's questioned. Even something as simple as liking a movie becomes uncertain if others don't agree. And over time, this creates a quiet pattern. You stop trusting your first thought. You start outsourcing your thinking. And eventually, your own perspective feels like a draft, never a final version. So what happened? Why does your mind hesitate to stand behind itself? This isn't because you lack intelligence. It's not because your opinions are weak. It's because your brain learned that accuracy comes from outside you. At some point, your internal signals weren't enough. Maybe they were corrected often. Maybe they were dismissed. Maybe being wrong carried a cost. So your brain adapted. It built a system that checks externally before committing internally. Not to limit you, but to protect you from error, rejection, or conflict. Because from your brain's perspective, being wrong isn't just a mistake, it's a social risk. So instead of trusting your own judgment, it learned to cross-reference. But here's the part that's easy to miss. The more you rely on external input, the less confident your internal voice becomes. Not because it's inaccurate, but because it's underused. So this isn't a flaw. It's a habit your brain practiced for a long time. And habits can feel like identity, even when they're not. But if that's true, then what exactly is your brain doing behind the scenes? Your brain is constantly predicting outcomes, not just physical ones, but social ones. It asks, if I say this, what will happen next? And this process is heavily influenced by something called social error monitoring. This is where your brain tracks how often your thoughts align or clash with others. When alignment happens, your brain registers safety. When misalignment happens, it registers potential risk. So over time, your brain starts optimizing for agreement, not truth. Agreement. Think of it like this. Your mind isn't just generating opinions, it's running a simulation. A quiet prediction model that says, this thought is 60% likely to be accepted. This one might cause friction. This one could be wrong. So before your opinion even reaches your mouth, it's already been filtered, edited, adjusted. Now here's where it deepens. Every time you override your own opinion to match someone else's, your brain updates its model. It learns external input is more reliable than internal thought. And the result? Your confidence doesn't just stay low, it actively decreases. Because confidence isn't something you build directly, it's something your brain generates based on past prediction accuracy. If you never let your own thoughts stand on their own, your brain never gets the data to trust them. So it keeps deferring, and that creates the loop. You don't trust your opinions, so you seek validation. You seek validation, so your opinions never stand alone. And because they never stand alone, you never learn to trust them. So the real question becomes, how do you interrupt that loop without forcing fake confidence? 1. State your opinion before exposure. What to do? Before hearing others, write down or mentally note your opinion. Why it works? This captures your brain's raw output before social filtering alters it. Example: before reading comments or asking friends, you pause and think, what do I actually think first? 2. Use provisional confidence. What to do? Express your opinion as complete but open to update. Why it works? This balances certainty with flexibility, allowing your brain to commit without fear of being wrong. Example: instead of, I'm probably wrong but, you say, this is how I see it right now. 3. Track when you self-edit. What to do? Notice moments where you change your opinion mid-thought. Why it works? Awareness activates cognitive control, interrupting automatic filtering patterns. Example: you're about to say something, then hesitate. You mentally note it. I just edited myself. No judgment, just awareness. 4. Let small opinions stand uncorrected. What to do? Allow low-stakes opinions to exist without checking them. Why it works? This gives your brain safe experiences of holding a position without consequences. Example: you say, I didn't like that show, and you don't adjust it even if others disagree. 5. Separate disagreement from invalidation. What to do? Remind yourself that someone disagreeing doesn't mean you're wrong. Why it works? This reduces the brain's tendency to equate social friction with error. Example: someone challenges your view. Instead of retracting, you think, this is a difference, not a correction. There's a simple model to hold on to. Your mind is not a judge, it's a generator. It produces thoughts. But you've been treating those thoughts like they need approval before they're allowed to exist. So your brain adapted. It outsourced the final decision. But the goal isn't to become stubborn or to believe you're always right. It's to let your thoughts exist long enough for your brain to evaluate them properly. Because confidence doesn't come from never being wrong. It comes from allowing your mind to participate in the process at all. You don't need to trust every opinion you have. That's not realistic. But you do need to stop abandoning them before they even begin. Because your thoughts aren't incomplete because they haven't been confirmed. They're just yours. And maybe that's where it starts. Not with certainty, but with permission. Permission to think something and let it stay.